Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story, highlighting the positive role of the Jamaican diaspora. Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Time now for Both Sides of the story of Jamaicans at home and Jamaicans abroad on Power 106 FM. We will not take sides, but we'll listen to your side. Stay with us as we explore the issues, present the facts, speak with the experts, and as always, listen to both sides. What's your story? Tell us on Both Sides of the Story by calling our local numbers 876-922-4112-5. You can listen to Both Sides of the Story on the Power 106 FM app via the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, as well as on onespotmedia.com. Because listeners in the USA can dial 631-359-8281 to listen. And if you're in the UK and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, you can call 0330-606-0953. You can watch Both Sides of the Story live on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Both Sides 106. Email bothsides106@live.com. Send your WhatsApp voice notes, audio messages, and text messages to 876-365-3346. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to Both Sides of the Story.
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 We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session, hour 106.
It is Tuesday, the 16th of July 2024, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. sides of a story.
So we're starting with a bit of history this afternoon on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. There's a story that is told that involves Henry Fanning, who apparently bought the True Friendship plantation near Montego Bay, St. James. He was contemplating marriage and sought a suitable location to take his future bride. A 24-year-old Irish girl named Rosa, the daughter of the Reverend John Kelly and Mary, his wife, of St. Elizabeth. 6 months after purchasing the True Friendship plantation, Henry Fanning and Rosa Kelly got married in 1746. 6 months later, Henry Fanning died. In his will of January 1747, he left all to Rosa, including the benefit of an agreement entered into by him with Lawrence concerning a certain parcel of land and one small bequest of £150 to Priscilla Metcalfe in England, a lady who had shown him kindness years before. The parcel of land he speaks of in his will was the hill towards the south on which he had intended to build a magnificent home for his wife. As it turned out, it was another man who used that parcel of land to build a lovely mansion, the forerunner to the Rose Hall Great House. That mansion was built by George Ashe, who married the widowed Rosa in 1750. Ashe called the house Rose Hall after his wife Rosa. That's how Rose Hall got its name. But the story doesn't end there. George Ashe sadly died 2 years later in 1752. The following year, Rosa married her third husband, the Honorable Norwood Witter. So we have a place named Norwood in St. James, and also the family name of Witter. So the Honorable Norwood Witter, a widower from Westmoreland. Their marriage lasted much longer than all the others, 13 years. But it was not all marital bliss, because the Honorable Mr. Witter turned out to be quite an avaricious husband. He was a real drain on Rosa's purse. He eventually died in 1766. In May 1767, Rosa entered her fourth marriage, this time with John Palmer, the Custos of St. James, who spent £30,000 to build what we have come to know as the Rose Hall Great House. It was built on the site of the previous residence, which was built by Rosa's second husband, George Ashe. Rosa finally experienced marital bliss for 25 years until her death on the 1st of May, 1790. At the end of her will, dated 1777, she stated, "In perfect health, mind, and memory, thanks to God for the same, I give, devise, and bequeath all the residue of my estate, real and personal, unto my dearly beloved husband, John Palmer, who is most deserving thereof." Maybe you're now wondering whether this Annie Mary, who married John Rose Palmer, was the famous, or some would say infamous, Annie Palmer or Rose Hall. Well, let's talk about Rose Hall before we get to whether the story of Annie Palmer is fact or fiction. Rose Hall is 10 minutes east of Montego Bay. The area is surrounded by some 5,200 acres of sloping hills that sweep up into the mountains overlooking the Caribbean Sea. Rose Hall's story began in January 1746 when Henry Fanning, an Englishman from St. Catherine, purchased a plantation called True Friendship near Montego Bay in St. James. Henry Fanning paid the then owner of True Friendship, Richard Lawrence, £3,000 for the 290 acres of rolling sugarcane land. The True Friendship property was bounded on the east by Samuel Barrett, Elizabeth Barrett Browning's great-grandfather, on the west by Benjamin Lawrence, north by the sea, and south by Benjamin and Lawrence Lawrence. Rose Palmer's name lives on in Rose Hall. Her good works are commemorated on a decorative plaque in the St. James Parish Church. Was she the famous or infamous Annie Palmer? Absolutely not. There was another Mrs. Palmer who was married to John Rose Palmer on March 28, 1820, at Mount Pleasant in St. James. And perhaps another time we'll tell you her story, but she wasn't the infamous Annie Palmer either. So where did the myth of Annie Palmer come from? It's just that, a myth, a tale, a fable. Neither Mrs. Rosa Palmer nor Mrs. Annie Mary Palmer was ever murdered by slaves at Rose Hall or Palmyra, and there is no evidence that either of them was involved in debauchery or unnatural cruelty, and that the commonly held tales are without any foundation whatsoever. Neither was Mrs. Palmer ever known to her slaves or contemporaries as the White Witch of Rose Hall. This title was invented by H.G. DeLisser for his novel, which was published in 1929, almost 100 years after the abolition of slavery. I think we're going to leave it there for now. Just thought we'd share with you a bit of the history. We thank you very much for your indulgence. In the meantime, we welcome those of you tuned in to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. We're taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that another outstanding Jamaican was born on this day in 1941. Jamaican ska, rocksteady, and reggae singer, songwriter, and musician Desmond Dekker, together with his backing group, the Aces, consisting of Wilson James and Easton Barrington Howard. And he had one of the first international Jamaican hits with Israelites. Other hits include 007, Shantytown, 1967, and Itmek, 1969. Before the ascent of Bob Marley, Dekker was one of the most popular musicians within Jamaica and one of the best known musicians outside it. He was born Desmond Adolphus Dakers in St. Andrew, Jamaica, and grew up in Kingston, where he attended the Alpha Boys School. I think it would be appropriate for us to play one of Mr. Dekker's songs, if we're able to, after the break. Okay.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store.
For your money's worth, yeah. Music like that. For your money's worth, sing it to me. Then rum ba ba doo bam 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 ba doo. Rum ba ba doo bam bam. Gets it right. Rum ba ba doo bam 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 ba doo. Rum ba ba doo bam bam. Words like sand, to match every man. Yeah. Words like sand, to match every man. Sing it to me, then rum ba ba doo bam 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 ba doo. Rum ba ba doo bam bam. Rum ba ba doo bam 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 ba doo. Rum ba ba doo bam bam. Oh, girls keep high from intensified guy. Music that stays on for extra days. Girls like sun, to match every man. Yeah. Girls like sun, to match every man. Intensified voice, with heart full of choice. Yeah. Intensified thirst, with those fancy girls. Sing it to me, children. Rum, baba, do, bam, 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 badoo. Rum, baba, do, bam, bam. Intensify. Rum, baba, do, bam, 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 badoo. Rum, baba, do, bam, bam. Intensify. Rum, baba, do, bam, 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 badoo. Rum, baba, do, bam, bam. 68. Rum, baba, do, bam, 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 badoo. Rum, baba, do, bam, bam. 53. Rum, baba, do, bam, 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 badoo. Rum, baba, do, bam, bam. Yeah.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and we're taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And let's greet some of you, our faithful listeners and viewers online. Nicola in Central Jamaica, good afternoon to you. Valerie Weller Peck, afternoon greetings to you too. Also, Jessica, good afternoon to you. Mike Montgomery says, good afternoon, teacher, to you and your listeners. Keep educating the nation. Keep safe. And Audrey Smith says, afternoon, Dervan and listeners. We lost the World Cup in football, although I am not a fan. It would have been nice to see them win, although the best side won. Hope you at all staying, hope you are all staying safe and well. Take care, everyone. And you do likewise, Audrey Smith. Thank you very much for your message as we continue to take your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5, and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Marcel Worrell says, hello, Mr. D. Can you give a shout out to my 93-year-old mother? She's on vacation in Florida. Miss Ina, or is it Ina? Either Ina or Ina. Miss Ina Worrell. And Marcel Worrell says, I love you dearly, in reference to his 93-year-old mother, who is now vacationing in Florida. Let's continue with more here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. What's on your mind this afternoon?
Miss Morris is still asking for the assistant for her house with some cement. Any kind listeners. I did ask for doors and other things at first, but then I changed it to the cement because if the bottom fix and the inside render, I can go in. So I don't know if any kind listener is out there who can help me with about 45 bags of cement. And I am in the St. Thomas area, where you have Wilson Chung and Sons Hardware, 11 Murray Avenue, Marant Bay, St. Thomas. Okay.
I didn't realize you were
So,
still having an issue.
yes, Mr. Malcolm, until now, I still can't reach anywhere. Still can't reach anywhere. The top slab, and that's it. So the inside to put in the bottom and to render and so forth. I stuck there. So if any kind listener, if they can call me straight because sometimes the WhatsApp is giving problem. But so if they call me straight, they will get to me. Okay.
Well, there are a couple of groups that are involved in raising funds to assist those who are in need, those who have been impacted by beryl. We'll have to check and see which of those is active right now. And we perhaps could check with the Jamaica Diaspora Task Force Action Network, JD-TAN. They're also, I believe they're doing some work as well.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I would be so grateful.
All right. So just for the record and just so people who missed the first part of what you were saying, just confirm what is the situation, please.
Yes, I have a room doing a house, a little house. So, but it's slab already, but
Slab
I can't
roof.
go any
Okay.
further.
Mhm.
So I would like some cement to do the bottom and the rendering inside.
Mhm.
My name is Cora Marish, Springbank, Marant Bay, St. Thomas.
All right.
A widow.
I know you just gave out the information, but just allow us to take the information off air. You want to do that?
Yes, Mr. Malcolm.
All right. What
I
time
can
is
have
it?
a text it.
Say that again.
I can text it.
Oh,
and send it
sure,
in
sure.
voice.
Yes, please do. That would help
Okay.
us as opposed to having to
Yes,
write it.
yes, Mr.
Yes. So go ahead and
Yes,
do
sir.
that and send it
Okay.
to me, and I'll share the information with whichever individual or group has the resources to be able to facilitate to help. So
Okay.
just
Yes, sir.
go ahead and text the information, please, and we'll see if we
Yes,
can
sir.
put you in touch with one of the organizations or individuals doing fundraisers to help those who have been affected by Hurricane Beryl.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. So
Thank you
please keep in touch so we
very
know what is
much.
happening.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Thanks for the call. Bye bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. We're taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. So we're going to take a break and come back with more in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 2:30.
Yo, catch the man on the new car. Come in, Jenna, make with her. Yo, bro, stop the foolishness. We don't need to drive so fast. Easy now, youth. You see the man a big driver. Road burn up you now. Yo, bro, stop the car and make me come out. You need to drive better.
Road safety begins with you. A message from the Road Safety Unit.
Sad story. Oh, sad story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, oh, sad story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. We're taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. We see Bishop Douglas Gooden popping up on the screen here. Welcome, Bishop Gooden. We trust all is well with you. Thank you for checking in here on Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And let's see if we can clear some of your many messages via the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. And this one, well, first of all, this message is for Althea. So we're going to forward this message right now. So over to Althea Mackenzie. We have shared the message. So Althea would have, well, not sure if she's on the phone right now or otherwise, but if she's connected, then she will get the message right away. If not, well, she'll be fine. Either way, the message will be there. So we have forwarded that message. Let's go to the phone lines once again. 876-922-4112 to 5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Dervan, how are you?
I am giving thanks for life. And you?
The same thing, my brother.
Good. How's it going with you?
Just chilling, just taking it easy, one at a time. That's all I can do.
That's good.
You know,
That's the spirit.
more than that.
That's the spirit. One day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. That's all I can do. I can't make blood of that food, you know.
That's right.
You know, I'd like to see things better, you know, for my country and, you know, the people around the world. And because the fear, it's really a certain time here, prevalent time here, and, you know, just mind-boggling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad to see that justice done today, that the U.S. Senator was found guilty.
Yeah, how much information do you have on that? Can you share the details with us, please?
Well, he's found guilty on all, I think it is 17 charges. All 17 charges he's found guilty. But his wife will not, his wife is being died because he's sick at the moment. He has got breast cancer, so you know we have to pray on her.
Uh-oh. Sorry to hear that.
But Menendez, the jury deliberated Friday and found him guilty. So he will be sentenced October.
Okay.
He will be sentenced October.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the policy. If Biden lose, and he goes to prison before October, after October, then he will be pardoned. But if he appeal and Biden lose and Trump become the president, then he will be locked away for a long time. You got to look at the politics.
Mm-hmm.
And the president is in charge all federal prisoners. But this must send a message. This is the second time, he's doing this kind of behavior. It's the second time. Right? So now he has to resign from the Senate. Because if he doesn't want to resign, then they force him to resign.
Mm-hmm.
And
who, the Senate itself, or
the Senate?
Yeah.
If the senator don't want to resign, then they can force him. Then they will take some procedural acts of the Senate and force him to resign because he's now found guilty. He's guilty of a crime.
Okay.
So October is his sentence date. His lawyer said they're going to be appealed, but he's fighting a losing battle. He's wasting time because the prosecution crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's and present the case to the jury because he said that $400,000 in his house, that's the old way he sent money to Cuba, and gold bars. You don't send gold bars to Cuba. You don't send Mercedes Benz to Cuba. You don't send all the things to Cuba. So the jury stick to the evidence and they come to the conclusion. And now he's going to pay the price.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of justice system that we are now developing here, we must take it to other parts of the world and say, listen, the world is bigger than Mac, bigger than Dervan, bigger than all of us when we commit crime. So, we are moving towards a better day. And if you notice the former president, document that was thrown out because the prosecution, the person who they appointed, the counsel, he was not appointed in good faith. So they throw that out.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's democracy working at its best. You understand me?
Yes.
So, that's how we have to live our life. You have to play by the rule. If you don't play by the rule, you get shafted.
So it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now let's come back to Jamaica. I see we're in the government is going to import teachers from Germany and from Nigeria.
Really? When was that published? This morning?
I think I saw it on the news, the wire yesterday. Yeah.
Mm.
But we have thousands of math teachers here. We have a lot of Caribbean teachers here. And my former neighbor, she teach somebody in Japan. She teach English. But she don't live in Japan. She live right here in Florida. So I am saying to the government, as we look at the system, we will recruit teachers from abroad, but they don't have to come to Jamaica. Can we look at that system?
But isn't some of that happening already?
Well, if some of that is happening, we must speed it up. I went to a safety. I was asked to go to a safety class, OSHA, which is in charge of all federal safety at the workplace in the United States. And the safety class is 4 hours. But I'm not going to the classroom. I sit around the dining table with my laptop. And I had to be at the laptop by 9 o'clock. And I download and the teacher comes on. And the teacher asked me my name, etc., to verify, etc. They have all my information, but they want to verify it. And I sit there for 4 hours to the class. And when everything was said and done, the teacher said I passed the test. And they sent my certificate to come and get me. That is the...
So that's, sorry, I don't mean to trespass, but is that your chosen path? Occupational Safety and Health Administration?
Yes.
Okay.
So I, complete the class and, do all these things. That is the way we are going. When When it is lunch break, I go to lunch break. When it is on a break, I pause and I take my break and I come back. And that is the way, because you have lots of retired teachers in the Caribbean, all over the place. They can deal with some extra money. Speed it up.
Mhm.
Once we do that, the days of classroom, of teachers standing in the classroom, those days are over. Those days are long gone. Don't tell me that teachers have to stand in the classroom to teach you and to tell you what is going on. Those days are over. And that is what we must move towards going into the new school year.
Mhm.
And I think we will have a brighter, days in the classroom if we go that. A friend of mine was talking to me about the art school in Jamaica.
About the
The art program.
Heart
And I was
NSTA Trust. Okay. Mhm.
yes. And I was telling him the time has come for us to have mobile bus. Stop talking about going to the art school. That doesn't make no sense. Go into the community and say who wants to learn carpenter, who wants to learn mason, who wants to learn electrician. The bus is right there. Lunch provided. Take the art to them in the community and say you can't blame nobody now say we're not bringing the skill to you. Don't tell me that you want to take for JUCC must to go to no school to learn no skill. Those who can't afford it, take it to the community to them right there, 5 days a week, and make the youth them a better place for them so they can enjoy a skill right there on the ground. Last night, while I was at work, I was talking to an engineer, and he said to me he was an helper, and he learned engineer work while he was an helper. And today, he's no more helper. That is the way we have to look at life. It's simple arithmetic. Now, as the way the commission are having press conference, and I don't know if this press conference is coming from PRO. That is my observation because he's using social media. He's talking about calling 911 and how they respond. Well, the Ramble
So
police,
you fault them for using marketing strategies or promotional tact in getting information out to their respective market.
well, look here. I came out of my house about 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to my neighbor. But I turned my back, and when I turned my back, it was the police breathing over my shoulder, you know, telling me good afternoon, but and asking me a question. So I told the police, well, I just got out of my house, so I couldn't tell you what took place. So when the police leave, my other neighbor was briefing me, telling me what was going on. And I say this to say that somebody called the police, and they were there like a matlock. Now, in Eastern Hanover, I use another temple as an example. The police station from Content to Ramble is about 4.5 hours. Cup, 6 hours. Part of Lisi, because Lisi and part of Lisi is St. James and part of Lisi is Hanover. Chester Castle, Orton Grove, Milestone, Cocoon Castle.
Sorry, but one moment, please. We need to take a break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
both sides of a story.
Thanks for holding. Go ahead, please.
Yes, because we like to back up facts.
Mm.
So when these people call the police station, the police don't come. If the police have one service vehicle, and if the police are to go to Milestone, Content, Capo, Cap, there is no road to drive on. So when I heard the commissioner talking about how the police is not up on top of things and you call them, they respond in certain times, that must be some hard of Kingston and St. Andrew. But the wider population of Jamaica, that is not so. So the commissioner must understand that PRO system is not going to cut it. Talk to the average man in there, in those communities we're talking about. Can they get police? No. But yet the police is there to serve them. Are we to blame the police? No. We are to blame the system that allow the police cannot get to you. 1, roads. 2, vehicles. 3, manpower. So where do we go from here?
Well, you sound as if you have arrived at the solution. So you would be a good person to speak with on that which you have discovered as far as strategies, safety and safety strategies are concerned.
We are not knocking nobody. We are knocking the system. And the system is outdated. We're not getting anywhere. We are paying tax. I pay tax in Jamaica. You pay tax in Jamaica. Right? And I am saying to myself, how much more these people can take it? If you don't have the people to back you up when there's a problem. But right here, if I hit somebody right here, domestic violence, they're knocking at my door. I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you how the system operates here. What is the difference? These people have better brain than us. They don't have better brain than us. They have the same brain that we have.
It's a function of culture. That's what it boils down to. And we're not talking song and dance. But if you grow up in a particular environment, or you help to engender a particular way of doing things, then you could find people following in your footsteps, doing the same things. And hope.
Dervan, they're saying that his foreign exchange is short. Because I'm tired of this. Excuse my friend, this foolishness about foreign exchange rate today. I'm tired of that foolishness. Right? I think that system is unworkable. And they're saying it is foreign exchange. We're not producing. We don't have enough foreign exchange. Right? So I said to them, listen, if you guys want to have enough foreign exchange, why not when a Jamaicans or anybody from the Caribbean put $6,000 US in the bank in Jamaica? And you said, okay, you put 6,000, then you can sell the dollar to the rest of the Caribbean, to the highest bidder. Why not say to the people and so what? You put 6,000, well, we give you 1,500 and your 6,000. Why not do that? Why the bankers don't do that? Everybody's a crab in a barrel. Everyone looking out for themselves.
No, perhaps we need to put the questions to the finance minister.
Why not do that? If 2 million of us live here, 2 million Jamaicans live in America, and we make foreign exchange, and we want to solve the foreign exchange problem in Jamaica, then the system that you have, it is unworkable. Let's look at a system that can work as the Western man. We don't send on the money from yourself. We give you this amount for honest. and then the bank can
No,
take it
that
and
sounds
give
like Jim screeching or something of that nature. It doesn't sound above board.
Look here. If Cayman Island can take in so much foreign exchange, can take in so much US currency, British pound, Canadian, why can't we look at a simple arithmetic system and say the remittance is down? Remittance is the biggest foreign exchange earner in Jamaica, not even tourism. But if you want to go further, say to me, what man, this is what I'm going to give you on your dollar. And all the other things that I talk about, with the roads and the police vehicle and the manpower, you will have all this normal sums of money to take care of what I'm talking about. But if you don't have a system like that in place, then God help the people in Eastern Hanover. I spent some time there. I grew up in Olava. The days of when I used to walk and train and go to school. I grew up there. Right? I keep on telling people all the time, I don't have a Jamaican birth certificate, but I grew up there in Jamaica. And I spent some time in Eastern Hanover.
But you seem to have a general love for Jamaica because you're seemingly almost always here. And if you're not here, staying from overseas and keeping in touch with what's happening or not happening.
I cannot forget Jamaica. The days of when sometimes I don't have food to eat. People give me food to eat. The whole year I can come here, live here now, and talk about I can forget Jamaica. Talk about I can't contribute and building a better Jamaica. Hmm? This is not hyperbole. This is not because I say something then you hate me because you don't agree with me. This is about a fundamental issue that's dear to me. Not the days of when I used to walk to school and train line. And when the train is coming, in those places, I have to jump down in the gully. And when the train gone, I have to go back on the train line to walk to school. Right? And spend some time in these areas and see the degradation. And these people, they can't have a better security system, have a better life. I hope one day you journey to Eastern Hanover, you journey there, you journey to the police station, and you see what I'm talking about. You journey to those community belts.
It's an area we've been in and out of over the years, you know. It's one of those popular places.
You know, and because when you look at the road from Ortonville to Milestone to Content to Capoon Castle, if my memory serves me right, that's when Judas Nyweary came to Jamaica, so open that belt, that agriculture here. You remember? I don't know if you remember the history of Judas Nyweary. I think he was from Tanzania.
No, I know of him. I know of him.
Yeah, Judas Nyweary. So if you build the highway from Orton Grove right back to Milestone and Content and open up those areas, there's a lot of government land and there's a big great house around there, a big great house around there. If you open up that belt, because remember, every time Long Hill, something happens to Long Hill. You remember the June 12th flood, right?
June 12, what year?
I think June 12th flood. I don't remember if it was, but when they have the big flood and the Great River and the Great River Bridge was smashed up, everybody has to go to Oprel and go up all the way to Cacoon, and go to Content and Milestone, and then go back to Orton Grove, and then back to Orton Grove, then go all the way down to Shepherdwood to go into Montego Bay. So that was the main link. So they were coming from the grill. If you don't go to Sabrama, then you have to come to Oprel. So I am saying to the government, look at putting a new highway, open up that the whole of that thing, that area there, where you can bring in people from the diaspora, come back here to live, open it up and make the place suitable to live. You think I want to spend all the rest of my life living here? Hmm? You think I want to? If I play my music loud, or if I cough too loud, the police knocking at my door. If the dog barks too loud, the police knocking at my door. This is no joke business. Jamaica is a very beautiful place, great place. It is my home. Just like here is my home. But if you ask me if I love Jamaica, I love Jamaica. Look what the great Butcher Banton is now doing. He's going to go to 13 places in the United States. He come back with the music. The people from all over the world is flocking to him. Where he come from? Jamaica. What is he doing? He went to New York. He's warning the youngster them. He said, leave the badness, leave the gun, leave it. He said, it's a better life. That part and part of his message, he was advocating, telling the people. Right? That's what we want from our people. Dervan, it's a pleasure always talking to you. You are like a man that we can reason. And we love to reason. And I said, we will talk again.
Thank you for the call. All the very best to you and yours.
Okay.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Welcome, Inez Ayona Campbell. We see you. Steve McDonald in Toronto, Canada, says 1979 was the June 12 flood. I believe you are correct, Steve McDonald. And he goes on to say, we don't want loud music playing or loud coughing in Jamaica either. I'm sure he's saying that tongue in cheek. Thank you oh, here he comes on our text line, same as the WhatsApp number. And we have at least another couple of callers waiting in the wings. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dervan. How are you doing today?
I am fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. A couple of things. Just wanted to quickly touch on with you. I just want to say good afternoon to the people of Westmoreland, too, Sav and Lieutenant Oxford in particular. And I do hope that you're getting back light. Oh, while we're on light, it has been alleged, and I really do hope that it's not true, that JPS says some JPS workers or contractors are asking for payment to switch on back the light. And I've seen where people have asked the minister to intervene. And so I hope that JPS will look on it. And I think JPS has also been informed too. So, and I do hope that they'll get back their light very quickly. Read your last caller. I wouldn't refer to Butcher Banton as great, but I'm happy that he's reformed. And in addition to his musical message, he's telling to stay away from certain things. But I leave that there. The ruling on children and grooming, I find that ruling to be very interesting. And just giving it the old Manning's look. Manning's school in Westmoreland. By the way, the roof was damaged, and we're looking for some support and help from the past student body.
One moment, please. We'll give you an opportunity to say more after the break. Hold on, please.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high-quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is 3 o'clock.
On your mark, set, get ready to go. It's time for the True Juice 5K, the one-of-a-kind experience taking you through the beautiful True Juice orchards in Bockwalk, Sunday, July 21, 2024. Register now at truejuice.com. Entry fee only $2,500. Come run, walk, and have fun while raising funds for the Lincoln Hospital. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
Crime Stop Jamaica unsolved. 42-year-old architect developer Mr. Yuan Darling was murdered on the corner of Skibo and Cargill Avenue, Kingston 10 at 6:35 p.m. on Tuesday, January 31, 2023. Mr. Darling was in his 2011 X-Trail. Two men on a motorcycle opened fire and shot him in the head. The car crashed and the villain got off and shot Yuan Darling multiple times. Crime Stop and concerned citizens are offering a total reward of $1.2 million for information leading to an arrest and charge. Call Crime Stop Jamaica 311. Solving crime pays.
Both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on both sides of the story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Thanks for holding, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you very much, Dervan. I was saying that before we went to break, that the oldest school, if we're using the date on the will, but as government, that was a bit slow in getting things enacted. It's the
That's
second
what,
oldest school in Jamaica.
1729 is the oldest.
1710 was when the will was done. It was enacted in 1738. So. But again, so we'll pass the finish line first. But anyway, so we'll give Wolmer's that. I was saying that they had sustained damages, and we're now doing to burial, and we're now doing a fundraising drive to get to see if we can restore the school, the damaged area, fix the damaged area as quickly as possible. So. We're asking all past students to jump on board, whether to check with their local alumni association or they contact the school for how they can contribute or touch base with their year group if they do have one. But just coming back to the ruling that was passed with regards to that young lady who was denied entry into her school because of she had on... she wore the Rastafarian or dreadlocks.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that the ruling, it's based on the ruling, it's denied her freedom of expression, which is very interesting. Very interesting because I think it can open up that Pandora's box or change. Let me rephrase from Pandora's box, but change how the attire that is worn to school and even for grooming. Because right now I'm here in school that they're saying that your hair should not be longer than half-inch. I remember when in my time, it was the days of Black Power. And we had students whose afros that were over six inches long. But anyway, it was a different time and a different era. So it's going to be interesting as to how, in my opinion, as to how we move forward and how this ruling is interpreted and enacted. Because
you think it might be further challenged?
It's going to be interesting if it's challenged. I can see where it will be challenged because in terms of the status quo right now, where children are required to, as I said, even have a half-inch hairstyle. That is something that is going to be no more. The uniform, I can see where uniforms are also challenged too. I can also see where uniforms are also challenged because if it's freedom of expression, then it could be a situation where children are now able to wear whatever they want within limits.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look towards even the Toronto school dress code and even the New York dress code, I can see where we could be going to that level based on this ruling of freedom of expression. So it's going to be interesting how we move forward from that perspective. So I don't see any, based on this ruling, I don't see where schools are now able to tell the children not to have multicolored hair, not to wear certain type of clothing to school, and even hair length. Whether to have braids. I remember one school even banned tiny bump from which I can't see what was the issue with that, but I can't see where those things are going to stand any longer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting days ahead from that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to share that with you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as I said, we're looking support in terms of help to all the past students and also friends of Manning's to help with getting the roof back up. We don't want to deny the current crop of students, especially the first formers who will be entering Manning's for the first time. We don't want to deny them that opportunity. So we're going to be seeking everyone's help. Thank you very much, Dervan. I really appreciate it.
Good. You're welcome. Thank you too. All the best. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello? Hearing you now. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
Dervan, you might have been getting a lot of calls pertaining to electricity all over the island.
Yeah.
But I'm calling from St. Ann, and there is so much things that I don't know where to start because it is so bad. First and foremost, Dervan, I heard the lady at JPS made some calls about she had 300 persons on the ground. And we have 14 parishes in Jamaica. And if you put 20 persons in each parish, that would give you about 280. And you still would have 20 leave. And right now, most of St. Ann don't have any light. I can tell you specifically on what I've seen. All the places we might have light right now is the one the far back. You would say the woods then. And we are on the front page, Dervan. We have not seen any light. Let me give you clearly that from Brownstone to Alexandria on the main have light. But if you are not living close to the main, you don't have any. And if this person decides you have light, the next person don't have any. And this is running for approximately 2 weeks now. We don't have any electricity in some section of Alexandria.
And what have the JPS representatives said when the matter was brought to their attention? Do you know?
You're not getting anybody. The phone ring without answer.
Oh dear.
Because I can tell you, honestly, JPS don't have to come out and do much, no bushing, because I never know that so many persons have chainsaws. They went out and they cleared the line just for them to come back. I can give you one specific area. This area called Happy News of the main Bethany going to Alexandria. Those persons use their chainsaw, clear the area. Up to today, people were there cutting trees that were they're figured more or less close to the line. That when these people come, they can't turn them down because people are suffering. Shopkeepers have to be showing many things, drinks, food stuff, meat stuff. They lose a lot of things. And I mean, if they had the light even a few days ago, they would lose so much. And then, you know, when you look at it, you are saying that you have 300 persons on the ground. If you put 20 in each parish, I think most persons would have electricity now. There would be so much persons who would be so glad that they can go back on their feet. Dervan, it is a great suffering right now throughout the whole center. I don't know when these shopkeepers will be able to get back on their feet.
I wonder if there's ever been a time before this when this kind of issue has come up in terms of the frequency with which the speed with which the electricity is restored. And could it be that there are certain things that they naturally would have to be mindful of in order to ensure a safe conclusion of whatever electricity apparatus is being fixed or needs to be fixed?
Well, as I said before, persons actually go to clear these lines that when they come, they will have nothing much to do with Dervan. As a matter of fact, Dervan, you hardly see any GPS representatives. You are not seeing them. You are not seeing them, and even sometimes, even I think RJR, I heard persons calling from even Mandeville saying that, you know, toll have been blocking their gateway and they haven't seen anybody come.
And then on the other hand, you have the JPS showing whether by virtue of their apps, their phones, etc., work that is actively being done to restore electricity. What do you think accounts for that disparity?
Well, honestly speaking, they're not speaking the truth. Because, I mean, they're just giving a number of whatever it might be to say, yes, they have been restored.
But why would anybody do that?
Well, they keep doing that because there's a lot of places right now who actually, I think this morning they had some roadblock somewhere because of lack of electricity. People are just suffering on account of that. Dervan, what I believe that they don't have the amount of persons on the ground to do the work. And I think after this, I believe that the government should get involved to know how many persons you have in each parish. Because you can't have the person in St. Anne and still working in Trelawney. And you can't have the person in Trelawney still working. People going to suffer.
So any idea where exactly they are right now in terms of the restoration exercise?
Well, Dervan, I heard that they gone to where Bob Marley areas.
9 miles.
Right. And that is where they're working now. And even Higginsland, that is close to Bob Marley, have electricity and some persons in Alexandria, in and about where they pass, and nothing happened to the line. And they still gone up there to work. So I don't know what is happening.
This is where communication is key. Those who are doing work must be in continuous communication with those who are effecting the restoration exercise.
Yes, that is exactly it. Well, persons just give up now. That's honestly speaking, they just give up because once some person says once they say today it don't pass. One shopkeeper told them he's going to buy a generator because he cannot afford.
Hold a moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Power 106. 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
Poor roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads.
So you're going to look for a generator now to get a generator. Is that where it's at now?
That's where it is now. Because, I mean, from the storm until now, they are working in the area, and here we are,
Mm-hmm.
nothing significant happening. So I don't know the reason why. I don't know if they have different terms of their connection or what have you. But even then, so to speak, Dervan,
Uh-huh.
we are not seeing anybody. And when you call, you are not getting anybody.
Oh boy. Sounds like hide and seek.
Yes. Well, thank you for your time, Dervan. Keep listening to your show.
Thank you as well. Wish we could do more.
Yes, man. Thanks.
All right. But you should call us. Please try and call us back if and when things
I will do that.
normalize.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, taking your calls on 876 922 4112-5, 876 922 4112-5. Let's see if we can clear some messages. Calvin in North York, Ontario, Canada. Leo Gilling says, I hope you can join me and sing along. Okay. And this one says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I have an uncle in Manchester who I take care of. He had a stroke 2 years ago. I am now disabled. The hurricane did extensive damage to the house. I'm trying, but it's really difficult. I would appreciate any help I can get with some zinc and board for the roof. A tarpaulin is being used to cover most of the roof currently, and she has given us her name, which we won't call on air, but we also have received a number. So that is the situation. And insofar as we're able to, we will share the information with one of the individuals or groups involved in raising funds to take care of needy Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Beryl. Let's see. Also, who else is messaging us? This one says, why, Dervan, this man, Mac, calls the talk shows behaving like Mr. Know-It-All. The thing is, he lives abroad. I don't know how he has so much time to call Jamaican talk shows to criticize so much. We need to let people like him know that in spite of everything, there there are still many positives. Why couldn't he talk about the new buses that have now arrived on the island? Good Lord, give Jamaica a break, says this listener. Thank you for your message. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, really? 4.5, but from Kingston to Negril, it's 31.5. And this one says, Power 106, Mr. D. Malcolm, good afternoon. This is my request. I am building a little shelter. It is already slab, but I need 45 bags of cement to do the bottom and rendering. I am desperately in need of some help. I I am I something is missing here. I am a widow, cannot work, not well in body. Thanks to any kind listener. And this person has given us an address and a contact number. So this is another fellow citizen who is having issues aligning or related to this request. So if we'll see, we know of a couple of individuals and groups who are doing what they can to assist and are looking to assist as well. So we'll be happy to oblige. And this one, James in East London, has shared. Man remanded in custody after human remains found in Bristol. That's one of the stories trending in East London. Rudolph in Stony Hill, St. Andrew, says, Mr. Malcolm, good day. Good day, sir. I am once again appealing to the MP for West Rural St. Andrew to fix the drain in front of the Stony Hill Market and the road that the water dig up, same place in front of the market. It is in a deplorable state. Thank you. Sorry to hear that, but we trust that the fact that you have raised the subject, that attention will be turned onto that market. Rohan Johnson from Atlas Ocho Rios says it's little Talia Johnson and Rohan Johnson from Atlas Ocho Rios. Big up sponsors and supporters of both sides of the story. Thank you very much for your greeting. Franklin McDonald says, thereby I believe the people who have solar power at their houses and businesses have a story to tell. Why don't you invite some calls from owners and advocates of solar power? Well, would be happy to have you starting us off, Mr. McDonald. Thank you. And this person says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I have an uncle. I think I went through this already. Yeah, we read this one already. Hello as well to Donovan Campbell and Karine Campbell. Thank you very much for your participation online and all the very best. as we continue to take your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Here's another call coming through. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, teacher. How are you?
I'm giving thanks for life. And you?
I'm good so far. Good to talk with you guys. Teacher, I have good news for you. The light is back in my area.
What's the general area you're talking? Which area is that? Generally speaking, don't be too specific. General.
The area that I live in is Garden Hill, St. Catherine, close to a community called Point Hill, St. Catherine.
Okay.
The light back last night. I'm very happy. Ever since the light was away a few weeks ago, I was so angry, frustrated. It's rough though. Really rough. It's not easy.
Yeah, well, some encouraging news. Things seem to be getting at least a little better.
Yeah. And teacher, you say you hear me on different programs sometimes. I talk to your colleagues and friends. I talk to Dr. Orville Taylor, Clive Mullins. I talk to them, especially Jerry McDaniel.
And that makes you a famous person now.
Yeah, I'm a very famous person from a long time. I was born to be a star. This is always something that I always want to do ever since I was a kid.
All right, well, by all means, go ahead and fulfill your childhood dreams.
Yeah. That is true. The reason why people prefer texting on WhatsApp because they are afraid to call in on these shows because they don't wanted their voices to be heard. I'm not afraid to call in on these shows. I'm not afraid to speak the truth.
That would make you a brave young man.
Yes. And me personally, I'm not afraid to call media houses to talk about important issues that is going on in the world.
Well, you have nothing to fear, as one former president said, nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yes. Okay, somebody said to me over the weekend that I am a very strong and powerful person. I am a powerful person.
Well, more power to you.
Yeah. Take care, teacher. How you doing before I go? How things?
We're fine, thanks. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Take care. I will talk to you guys next time.
All right. All the best. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. And good afternoon, Althea McKenzie. Thanks for confirming that you got the message. Thank you. Let's take another call, 876-922-4112-5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Yes, sir, Malcolm, how you doing?
I am fine, thanks. And you?
I'm here chilling. Anyhow, where in Jamaica you find the Rastafari community?
Which one of them?
Well, I heard on the news that a court make a ruling pertaining to a student who refused to trim her hair. And the opposition saying that this ruling should send a message to the government and the Rastafari community.
Yeah, in the final analysis, it will boil down to the law of the land.
So, like how the court rule in her favor, he carries some compensation behind it financially.
No, not that I'm aware of, but one would imagine that it might not be over just yet, as far as the case is concerned.
Sorry, but it is the making though, because normally when they bar you out, until everything finalized, you go through some stress. So from the government side, they should come to her head and say, all right, sorry for what you go through and this is it and whatever. You don't work a lot in Jamaica?
Yeah, for those who are into... Oh, hold on, please. One moment.
Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:31 on Power 106.
On your mark, set, get ready to go. It's time for True Juice 5K, the one-of-a-kind experience, taking you through the beautiful True Juice orchards in Boardwalk, Sunday, July 21, 2024. Register now at truejuice.com. Entry fee only $2,500. Can run, walk, and have fun while raising funds for the Lincoln Hospital. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
Thanks for holding. Thanks for listening to both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Please continue.
Yeah, here's where the Minister of Welfare chipped in. Because she's a minor. And for them to borrow from the school is stress her out. So this is where they chip in and make sure it's everything going in her favor. And it go with some cash.
What about cash?
No, but I'm saying they have a thing they call punitive damage. You know that word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in a case like this, she don't file a lawsuit, but the school borrower, so the government himself, well, first to begin with, you have a Minister of Welfare in Jamaica who will look out for a situation like this.
No, what part of the situation? What?
All right, she's a minor. And the school borrower from going to school until they do what she said, which it turned out that it was against the law. So this is where the Minister of Welfare chipping and say, all right, because it was a mistake on our part. We take her, make sure you return to school and take care of some financial need with it. You don't work like that?
And that would settle whatever the argument is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because everything will rule in her favor.
Okay.
So where they go from here?
Follow whatever guidelines, especially of a legal nature. Follow those guidelines.
I hear the opposition and make some nice deal, but I don't hear from the government side anybody saying anything.
Yeah, well, we have more than our fair share of lawyers to close these cases.
No, this is where the minister himself should come in and we hear from him. The lawyer for them part to play. minister, we want to hear from him.
Yeah, well, that in and of itself is no big deal. You ask that the minister seek audience with the minister and take it from there.
Yeah, remember now, the school student. So this is where we want to hear what he have to say pertaining to the court ruling and what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, well, again, the lawyers will deal with it.
Nah, man, the lawyer have for them role to play, Mr. Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
But the minister, he has sent a message to the school community that this won't be entertained, and when things like that, this is where we chip in.
Yeah, but that's not an issue right now. I mean, the matter went before the court, and it happened. But there's nothing to stop the system from taking its course.
So she's still in school because I heard that it happened 3 years ago and the ruling just come true. So what happened to her now?
I don't know, but you seem to be quite curious to get the details, so see what you can find.
Now, why I ask you this question now? I hear Miss Mervis tell us some time ago that she don't like when them call Jamaica third world country, but we always take long for our thing get through, and so it like we left behind all the time.
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that?
No.
Okay. Last but not least, I hear some people in the country, even 12 o'clock news today, hear one man say, if him happen to block the street again, it'll come with more disaster than before. Because the light man take too long to get them light. What happened there? And that was in St. Mary.
Well, it is what it is.
But I was surprised when the light people say for one parish of 5 people are monetized. Up to now I don't believe that. Because a disaster passed through. I see Jamaica kind of small. Jamaica small, so it kind of different. But I see storm come here really. And when everything settles and you go on the streets, stoplight everything in the road. And they send people from other states to come help and make sure everything up and running in no time. So how everything work there?
Just as it has always worked, for better or for worse.
No, I think part of the problem I see. As I said before, Jamaica smart. So here what they do. When everything's settled and you get things up and running, you can't have the guys say have 5 man at St. Mary, maybe have 10 man at Westwood. It's too much work. Take all the team and run through one parish in a day. Next day, take all the team and run the next parish. And no time everything back to normal. But if you spread them out and too much work for them, then just can't keep up with it.
Well, maybe you should just take over the operation.
All right, and my next trip there, which is pretty shortly. I'll take it from there. All right, boss.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Para 106. This one says, when the PM was asked by CNN how many shelters, he told them 900. When Samuda was asked by CNN, he said 700 plus. And when Desmond McKenzie was asked by our local journalists, he said 60. but 10% not working. There seems to be confusion. Please remind Mr. Vaz to get the JUTC buses to Old Harbor and Maypen. Here is another message. This time from Franklin McDonald again. Once again, your call has not looked up the details of the case. My understanding is that the young lady did not miss a day of school, i.e., her parents adjusted her hairstyle and or placed her in another school. Urge your call to do some review before commenting. Okay, Mr. Mac. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, Mr. Malcolm, I am referring to what Mac said, that in Hanover, it takes 4.5 hours to another point in Hanover. That's very hard to believe because it takes 3.5 hours from Kingston to Negril, and that is 120 odd miles. No matter how bad those roads are, how could it take 4.5 hours to travel in the same parish? Something is missing. And this one goes on to say, Mr. Malcolm, you have a big pothole at 3 miles under the bridge long before the hurricane. I can't believe it's still there. It's been there a while. It's been there a while. Oh dear. 876-922-4112-5, the numbers to call. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. And let's see what we have here. I think we have covered all the messages so far. Faye Weller says, hello, Mr. Dervan and faithful listeners. I'm here again listening. Rest. May the peace of God be with us all, says Faye Weller. And Catherine Kelly, speaking French, says, bon après-midi, Professor Malcolm. Il pleut ici en Jamaïque. Benediction. She's saying, good afternoon, Teacher Malcolm. It's raining here in Jamaica. Blessings. And Cheryl Chensu says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Have yourself a wonderful day and keep up the good work. Thank you very much. And you do likewise. And let's see who else is messaging us. Let's go over to YouTube. Yes, we have covered that. Thank you very much. And keep those calls coming in, 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5, and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106, still taking your calls and your messages. But first, we need to take a break here on Both Sides of the Story. After the break, we'll have more for you, and we look forward to your full participation in just a moment.
Sides of the Story. 106 FM. Time is now
3:45.
coming soon. A new voice for the Morning Agenda team. Morning Agenda, continuing the tradition of hosting riveting discussion on issues locally and internationally. Morning Agenda, speaking with the stakeholders, movers and shakers of our day. Morning Agenda, providing the platform for healthy public debate. And coming soon, a new voice to serve listeners in Jamaica and around the world. Stay tuned to the Morning Agenda on Power 106 FM, where we set the agenda. Both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, and checking out some of the history. 1941, intensive searches of the Rastafarian property of Pinnacle near Sligoville and surrounding districts in St. Catherine by the police failed to find Leonard Howell, the leader of the community of hundreds of members of what has been described as the new cult called Rastafarians. Pinnacle was raided by the police 2 days earlier, and 70 of its residents arrested and charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm on residents living in nearby communities. The Rastafarian men do not cut the hair of their head, are alleged to smoke ganja, an illegal drug, and believe that Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia is the risen Christ. So this is a picture of what life used to be like for Rastafarians. So the intensive searches of the Rastafarian property of Pinnacle near Sligoville and surrounding districts in St. Catherine by the police failed to find Leonard Howell, the leader of the community of hundreds of members of what has been described as this new cult called Rastafarians. Pinnacle was raided by the police 2 days earlier, and 70 of its residents arrested and charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm on residents living in nearby communities. The Rastafarian men, we're told, do not cut the hair of their head, are alleged to smoke ganja, an illegal drug, and believe that Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia is the risen Christ. And so that's where the thinking was back in 1941 with respect to the Rastafarian community. So what an evolution. What an evolution. Also, Let's see. The largest crowd in sporting history was 199,854, and this is 1950. They watched Uruguay defeat Brazil in the World Cup soccer finals in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And another one, 1952, E.H. Fagan, who was elected mayor of Kingston with the support of PNP councillors 2 days prior, announced his membership of the People's National Party. Fagan was the Jamaica Labour Party candidate in East St. Andrew, who defeated Norman Manley in the 1944 general elections. And 1956, 2 railway coaches ran over 35-year-old Albert Smith in the Montego Bay station yard, and he got up and walked away with only a slight blow to his head. Smith was crossing the line on his way to work when the shouting of bystanders alerted him to the approaching train. He slipped and fell between the rails and kept his wits. He lay flat as 3 boggles, sets of wheels, passed inches over his head. And then there was the prophet Alexander Bedward. 1967, die-hard followers of the prophet Alexander Bedward, who died at the Bellevue Mental Hospital 37 years earlier, protest and attempt to prevent crowds from Hermitage, Augustown, and surrounding areas from taking water for domestic purposes from the once popular Berry Rock in the Hope River bed. And let's see. Berry Rock is where Bedward had his shrine, and his followers believe the water at that spot was holy and had healing powers. Residents had no water because of a broken main. Let's go to the phone lines again. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling both sides of the story.
Hey, Dervan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, man?
I am fine, thanks. And you?
Good. Yeah, wish more young people texting you as gone to Sean there. Pick up the phone and make a call and have a conversation. I love conversation, by the way. You know? Maybe you disagree with me, but I love when people converse. I didn't hear him back, but I think I heard one of your text messages saying that Marco said it can take 3 hours to go from one end of Hanover to the other end on certain roads, I guess. Is that what Mark said?
I can't say I heard every single word, but I got the general gist.
Well, I can tell you this. My grandmother is from 11 miles north of Montego Bay. And when that road is bad, if you don't plan to wreck your car, front end, suspension, the engine mount, if you don't really plan to mash up the car, I tell you, it's a 20, 30 minutes drive, but it can take you probably more than an hour to get up here. And that's not the end of St. James. I know St. James.
Why? Because there's usually traffic?
No. I mean, once the leave was the Montego Bay and get to ground, there's literally no traffic. But
I figured as much, but I figured as much, but I was just playing devil's advocate.
Oh, okay. Dervan,
Dervan, before they fixed it not too long ago, and I'm hoping they maintain it because I'm telling you, when I rode this battle, I had to go there. It's like a day work for me to go and come back.
Wow.
1 day work. That's how bad it can be. Literally 1 day work because you can't. Okay, the patrols are left, right. So when you swing from one, you swing another one, and then you have to be careful with something because a lot of corner and curve. Because we have top of the hill. We have on the top of the hill. We are. With the beautiful view up there, by the way, when you can look down in the Montego Bay, beautiful view at a certain spot and see Montego Bay. So I can concur with Mark. I never tried, but to go, if the whole thing is bad, to go to the end, and you can link up back up into Sinbest. Yeah, it can take like 3 hours. If you're not planning to mash up a car. Yeah, and don't make it rain. Yeah, and don't make it rain, man. Yeah, so maintenance is a problem in Jamaica. We don't maintain the roadways, we don't maintain the gullyways, and even GPS, from what I'm gathering. And by the way, some of it is here too because my usual company, Carnet, I think they need to do a better job of building the poles. I'm where I'm at right now, they have poles because of the low light area, and I'm pretty sure they can't do underground because if you get flooded, you see the salt water definitely corrode the line. So very few areas in my area are below ground. And I think the maintenance is not that good when it comes to maintaining the poles. So I'm not, I'm not saying it's not here too. It's here somewhat depending on where you are.
Yeah, it's that makes sense. It depends on where you are because the terrain is not all the same.
Well, yes. But some years ago, things are maintained a lot better than some here in America. So you can go right here and it's well maintained, and then you go right here, it depends on the company, it depends on the political, or the
story of life.
I guess. Say it again?
I'm saying story of life. The story of life.
Story of life. Yeah. But maintenance is our problem in Jamaica. We don't maintain the roads, we don't maintain it. Because I think somebody said most of the poles that got blown down were like poles that need to change already. Is that so, Mike? Dervan?
Yeah, it's a mix. Yeah, it's a mix. Some that are freshly planted. Others have been planted for quite a long time, and some of them barely making it, in a manner of speaking.
Okay, if a pole, and I don't know why we don't know. Florida, they have another concrete pole in Florida. I can't see why we can't go concrete in Jamaica. We don't have the issue of the salt. Here in the summer, in the winter time, they use salt on the street. I suspect if they use concrete pole here, it will deteriorate because I think they have to put probably steel in the concrete for the hole. I'm not 100% sure, but I would imagine so. And even with concrete, the salt is not that good for it. But in Jamaica, they don't have that issue to worry with. So I think they probably should put in more concrete poles.
Yeah.
So that's my take on that one. One other thing, my friend here from Florida was saying that how we take JSPS so long. I mean, Texas is having the same issue, and Texas have a lot more resources. I'm not taking it for JPS, by the way, so nobody think I'm taking it for JPS. But it's happening here too, man. Texas is a large state. They have a lot of resources. They have federal government resources. They have other states around them. So, it's probably not a larger problem because the hurricane probably affect a larger area. But, for them to still having, a lot of people still have electricity in Texas with the hurricane hit over in Galveston and up in Houston, I guess, some part of Houston. So, gotta take it easy and look at Jamaica sometimes because, we don't have the resources. But if we had maintained things and do things right from day one, would have less problem.
One moment, please. We'll be back in a moment.
Services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is. Or here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Protect your wealth. If you rent, get renters insurance to protect the contents of your home from loss due to theft or fire. Read the policy carefully to see what's covered and what isn't. Disability insurance protects your ability to earn an income by providing you with a steady income if you're unable to work for an extended period due to illness or injury. If you want help managing your money, find a fee-only financial planner to provide unbiased advice.
Both sides of the story.
Thanks for holding. Please continue.
I was just saying, maintenance is I think we should focus more on maintaining our infrastructure, bridges to maintain them, you know. And by the way, you were suggesting that why don't we pool all the resources to one parish and then one company, one parish, and then go to the next parish. And I'm pretty sure that'll create a problem because people the parish that get lost, how they feel, Dervan? If you're the parish that get lost, how do you feel?
Well, nobody likes to be lost.
Right. I mean, that's the problem too. So I think we should prioritize, and prioritize areas. As a hospital, I think that's what they did. Hospitals and we're critical infrastructure.
Well, wasn't that what they said they would have done? I think that's what they said they would have done in order of priority.
Right. And then we can do the everyday, obviously, where a population are more condensed, you can easily get most of those people. Fortunately, people who live in remote area are going to be always lost to get to. Unfortunately, I think that's how they work. Well, I think before I go to the history thing there, I don't mind history, but the colonial history sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I was like, I know it's history and it's important, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't gravitate to history like that too much. That's just my take on it.
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing is wrong with that. Yeah, man. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man, welcome. Cool.
Okay. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. This one says, good evening, Dervan. My heart bled when I heard Gary Allen on Beyond the Headlines speaking about the huge problems he saw in Southeast St. Elizabeth during the outside broadcast on Sunday. May I ask you to give the account number and the bank so that I can deposit my contribution? And this is from Donald Jones, Golden Grove, St. Anne. Let's see if we can forward this. Forward this to the transmission team. That's the closest we can mention right now. And you see Bishop Douglas, boy, he's cooking up a storm, man. All the best, Bishop. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, Mr. How can you believe these people when they talk about road safety? There is some on Mandela Highway. I don't think the government should say anything about road safety or no traffic fine. That's what the government is doing with traffic, in my opinion. It's about the money. not road safety. When you can, something is missing. When you can some pothole in some sections of some meager road, not a road safety, nothing, says Horace, otherwise known as Spider. Hello to Tony Kelly for sharing his next fortnightly CaribDirect.com article with us. Thank you very much, Tony Kelly. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. The Troy Bridge in Manchester was destroyed 5 years ago. The bridge has separated the community in two. Children have to walk down in the gully to go to school. Residents have to change their clothes before crossing the dangerous trek. Sir Malcolm, the Works Department and the government are to be held responsible if citizens are killed in the gully below the Troy Bridge. Well, God forbid, we hope not. And there's another piece of history that has been shared with us. This is coming from Vincent Burgess Sr. It's a thesis that was done. And this is going to take some time. Let's see. We won't be able to. We'll have to keep this one, put this in safekeeping in order to ensure that we don't forget to touch on it. But it would require a level of reading right now, which we don't have that time right now. So, restoring power to Hurricane Sandy victims takes days to weeks. It's hard, grueling work. So I'm not sure who sent this information. And this story coming out of New York. As the number of nights without power stretched on for thousands left in the dark after Superstorm Sandy, patients understandably turned to anger and outrage. But an Associated Press analysis of outage times from other big hurricanes and tropical storms suggests that, on the whole, the response to Sandy by utility companies, especially in hardest hit New York and New Jersey, was typical or even a little faster than elsewhere after other huge storms. The AP, that's the Associated Press, with the assistance of Ventix, a software company that helps utilities manage their grids, used U.S. Energy Department data to determine how many days it took to restore 95% of the peak number of customers left without power after major hurricanes since 2004, including Ivan, Katrina, Rita, Wilma, Ike, and Irene. All right, so I think who shared this now? This came from maybe from Mr. McDonald, perhaps. Yes, indeed, Mr. McDonald sent it. Restoring power to Hurricane Sandy victims and the story around that. That's what Mr. McDonald sent to us. Cuban in Georgia says, Sir Malcolm, how can the citizens of Jamaica what is missing here? Summon the monarchy, something as head of state of Jamaica, do come address the crisis Black people are facing under his leadership and regime, says Cuban in Georgia. And I think that's what we'll leave it there for the time being. But in the meantime, let's take some more of your feedback. 876-922-4112 to 5. That's 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And we thank Mr. MacDonald for sharing this story so we can make the comparisons which some people might argue is unfair, but nothing wrong in checking it out. In the meantime, we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, live on your smart devices all over the world. Nature and Quotes Cafe says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm, and everyone watching and listening. Good afternoon to you. And let's see who else is messaging us. Norman Hines says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan, Malcolm, and listeners. Good afternoon, Norman Hines. Thank you very much for your message. And let's see who else is in the mix. Thank you for your listenership and support. And so this story, again, doing the comparisons with Superstorm Sandy, the effects both in Jamaica and in New York. And so the story says, let's see. The story says, after Sandy, New York utilities restored power to at least 95% of customers, 13 days after the peak number of outages was reported. New Jersey reached that same level in 11 days, and West Virginia in 10 days. Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, and Wilma in 2005 and Ike in 2008 all resulted in longer outages for customers in Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, and Florida. The longest stretch to 95% restoration since 2004 was Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina, where local utilities had power restored to only 3/4 of their customers after 23 days before Hurricane Rita hit and caused additional outages. Rita left Texas customers in the dark for 16 days. Katrina knocked out power to Mississippi customers for 15 days. Wilma and Ike knocked Florida and Texas out for 14 days each before power was restored to 95% of those who lost it, according to the federal data. New York and New Jersey recovered far faster after Hurricane Irene. It took 7 days for New York to restore, 95% of customers, and 6 days for New Jersey. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 4:15. How much do you know about spices and the impact they have on your everyday life? Join us every first and third Thursday during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie at 6:18 a.m. for Spice of Jamaica. We'll give you tips, tidbits, and interviews about the revitalization and sustainability of the Jamaican spices, including ginger, turmeric, and pimento. That's Spice of Jamaica every first and third Thursday at 6:18 a.m. during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM. Spice of Jamaica is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Food for Progress Jamaica Spices Project.
Both sides of a story.
Good afternoon to those watching and listening on YouTube, like Unplug and Unwind. That's the moniker for that listener or those listeners. And they say good evening to everyone. Good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on both sides of the story on Power 106 FM. And let's check to make sure we have everybody. I think we do. But just to look at this comparison again, the restoration target of 95% allowed the Associated Press to compare responses to the largest number of recent storms using Energy Department data, and was considered by industry experts to provide a meaningful picture of the speed with which utilities restored service to the vast majority of customers. A week or two without power is without question a difficult and frustrating hardship. There's the spoiled food in the fridge and the dark nights. There's the fire danger from relying on candles. No electricity also can mean no heat. In tall apartment buildings, it means no elevator service, a serious problem for the infirm or elderly who can't navigate stairs. For those who rely on mobile phones for communication, it means no way to charge phones and therefore no way to communicate with loved ones or emergency services. Michael Redpath of Toms River, New Jersey, was without power for 15 days before getting it back in the week. He and his wife stayed in their home for the first week after Sandy because their friends also had lost power. As some power in the region was restored, and Redpath's wife got sick from too many nights in the cold, they started staying over with friends. It's just so disorienting to be without power, to be out of your house and to know and to not know what's going on, he says. Determining the quality of a utilities restoration. Determining the quality of a utilities restoration efforts after an outage is difficult to do, experts say. That's because every storm generates a unique cocktail of mayhem that differs from location to location. Just because New York and New Jersey utilities restored power in a range that is normal by historical standards does not prove that all of the utilities in the region performed equally well or that they performed better or worse than their peers responding to outages in other states, or that there isn't plenty of room for improvement. Frustrated residents, business owners, and state and local officials lashed out at their electric utilities. Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York formed a commission to investigate the responses of utilities in his state, and the operations chief of one utility, the Long Island Power Authority, resigned. Cuomo called LIPA, LIPA, beyond repair, and also expressed frustration with the performance of Consolidated Edison, the electric utility for New York City and Westchester County to the north. Also, a positive general performance doesn't create any goodwill for those still suffering. Sam Cusack, who owns an architectural metal fabrication shop in Red Hook, Brooklyn, was still without power Thursday, 17 days after going dark. Red Hook is in an isolated section of Brooklyn, and Con Edison began laying new underground wires near his shop only this week. Workers told him power would be back by Friday, but Cusack said the utility had called him several times in the early days of the crisis to say his power would soon be restored. Those calls stopped long ago, and Cusack has continued to rely on a generator that gobbles expensive diesel fuel. It was a big storm, but it's been a while, he said. It's tough to run a company on a generator with no power. I have 25 employees and a payroll to meet. The fact that it has taken utilities roughly the same amount of time to restore the vast majority of customers as after similar sized storms suggests that restoring power after an enormous weather event is simply a long, difficult process. The work is no magic, it's hard, grueling work, says Arshad Mansour of the Electric Power Research Institute, an industry funded technology research group. Sandy's most prominent feature was its enormous footprint and record number of outages. All told, Sandy caused 8.5 million power outages across 21 states, the highest outage total ever. The Edison Electric Institute, an industry group, estimates 67,000 workers from utilities and other firms in several states worked to restore power, but they faced a huge volume of work. For example, New Jersey's biggest utility, Public Service Electric and Gas, had to cut down 41,000 trees, replace 2,500 poles, and install 1,000 new transformers. At its peak, 77% of PSE&G's 2.2 million customers lost power. Sandy also dumped 2 to 3 feet of snow in West Virginia, knocking power out to a quarter of that state's customers, and efforts to restore power along coastal properties were complicated by a storm surge that flooded dozens of substations on Long Island, in New York City, and in New Jersey. For example, a storm surge and subsequent explosion at a substation on the east side of Manhattan plunged the lower third of that borough into darkness. Equipment in all of those substations had to be cleaned or replaced before the substations could be re-energized. Only then could utilities see if the lines between each substation and the thousands of customers each one serves also had to be repaired. Utilities first fix problems that affect the largest number of customers, then work their way down to smaller problems affecting handfuls of customers. With Sandy and other big storms, there are also thousands of customers who cannot get power because their homes are damaged and it is not possible or safe for the utility to restore power. The restoration approach is reasonable, experts say, but it leads to intense frustration when those last few in the dark see their neighbors back to normal. Customers are generally understanding for 2 days without power, utility officials say. Then they are not. Those last few homes and businesses, such as Kusat's firm, are often the hardest to restore. On many occasions, the days turn into weeks. After Con Edison restored power to nearly all of its customers 10 days after the storm, it said it was facing 3,600 restoration jobs in Westchester County that involved 11 or fewer customers each. And it goes on. It's a rather comprehensive story on the methods and the ways in which those who had issues here in Jamaica, for example, to check to see how similar are the numbers outside of Jamaica. So that comparison was done by Penn Live. So that is that. So we're going to leave that there for the time being. We thank Franklin McDonald for sharing the information with us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, Mr. Malcolm, I'm referring to what Max said, that in Hanover it takes 4.5 hours to another point in Hanover. That's very hard to believe because it takes 3.5 hours from Kingston to Negril, and that is over 120 odd miles. No matter how bad those roads are, how could it take 4.5 hours to travel in the same parish? Something is missing. Mr. Malcolm, you have a big pothole at 3 miles under the bridge long before the hurricane. Mr. Malcolm, can you believe these people when they talk about road safety? There are some on Mandela Highway. I don't think the government should say anything about road safety or no traffic fine. What the government is doing with traffic, in my opinion, is it's about the money, not road safety. When you can patch some potholes in some sections of some meager road, not a road safety. Nothing, says this person. And this one says, wonder what would be the PM legacy. Mr. Manley fire some All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Horace, for your message. Horace, otherwise known as Spider. We need to go to a break now. So thank you very much. as we go to another break here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. More in a moment.
Time is now 4:30. Are you looking for powerful platforms to promote your business in North America or the UK? Look no further than The Gleaner. Reach the diaspora and ignite brand awareness through our geo-targeted publications. Call 876-922-3400 or your Gleaner representative to explore the available options and book your ads. Or email us at advertising@gleanerjm.com. Actualize your brand's potential today with The Gleaner, where life unfolds.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Good afternoon, Natalie Winter. Thank you for joining us from Washington Gardens. And follow-up message from Franklin McDonald says, there is today, right now, a very large boycott in Toronto, Canada, due to overnight flooding. So what you just read is relevant to Jamaica after Barrel. Oh, I think you meant Beryl. Is relevant to Jamaica after Beryl and Toronto today. Okay. Thank you for your message, Mr. McDonald, and all the very best as we continue to take more of your calls on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And we continue. I think we have cleared most, if not all, our messages by now. And Mr. Mack, you can perhaps tell us what is a boycott. I neglected to ask, what is a boycott? B-O-W, one word, C-U-T. Boycott in Toronto, Canada, due to overnight flooding. So what you just read is relevant to Jamaica after Beryl and Toronto today. Thank you very much for participating in today's edition of Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. We still have time, so we're taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And once again, thanks to those who have joined us both on YouTube as well as Facebook Live. We appreciate your continuing listenership and support. And we say hello once again to our listening audience or viewing audience. We trust you are enjoying the stream, the broadcast that's happening now here on both sides of the story. Paro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. So thank you very much. Keep those comments and those messages coming here on both sides of the story. Paro 106 FM. And Leo Gilling is online as usual, saying, I hope you can join me and sing along with me on your favorite reggae and love songs tonight. Oh, what a thing. Some of that coming up. And let's see who else is messaging us. Sharon Smith. Let's see what's up with Sharon. She always has a lot to share. She says, Jose Marti Alumni Association, New York, Inc. The banquet is fast approaching, August 10, 2024. And so it's the deadline to reserve your rooms. And they say, please call the number below to reserve your rooms today, the Adria Hotel and Conference Center. All rooms are reserved under Jose Marti Alumni Association of New York. So that's coming up. That's a big fundraiser for the Jose Marti Alumni Association New York chapter. And let's see who else we need to respond to, or who else is messaging us here on both sides of the story. Paro 106 FM. When is this? No, this is outdated. That was some time ago. So we're going to move right along and continue with more on both sides of the story. Paro 106 FM. And how are things with you and yours? How are you and where are you, as Charles Hyatt used to say? How are you and where are you? We want to hear from you. 876-922-4112 to 5. And the text line 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. So by all means, keep the messages coming in, as we always like to know where our listeners are communicating with us from. And it's always good to find out. But in the meantime, we look forward to more of your calls. 876-922-4112 to 5. And Mr. McDonald is on top of things already. What is he saying now? Due to overnight rains, there is significant flooding and power outages across Toronto today. What a thing. Well, we hope you will all stay dry and safe. Thank you very much for that update. And let's see. So that's a quick update there of the weather situation coming out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And let's see what the very latest is, and if that is just about ready. I'm going to check that in just a moment. On both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston. That's what we're seeing. That's the reading. And curious to see a little more in terms of the forecast, but we'll come back to that. In the meantime, we continue with both sides of the story. Power 106 FM. We're still taking your calls. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And the weather showing us it's going to be a wet period over the next few days, it seems. A lot of precipitation in the air. So we just need to be careful as we traverse the various areas. Looks like, well, we've seen and experienced already today the wetness. Not sure what is the status now outside, but the clouds are telling us that, well, they're giving away whatever secret was there. That secret is out as far as the clouds are concerned. So let's see as we continue with more on both sides of the story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And let's see if we can share a bit of history with you here on both sides of the story. 1969, A.G.S. Coombs, former Minister of Communications and Works and founding president of the Jamaica Trades and Artisan Workers Union, died at age 68 at the Kingston Public Hospital. He was one of the pioneers of the Jamaican trade union movement. Another one for you. Prime Minister Hugh Shearer announces that as from September, there will be free technical education for all in most of the island's technical high schools, technical institutes, and trade training centers. Shearer also announced that in association with the Inter-American Development Bank, the government was setting up a revolving fund to the amount of $6.232,000 disbursed over a period of 4 years. The fund will be used to assist Jamaican students to pursue studies and training in selected subjects at the University of the West Indies, the College of Arts, Science and Technology, CAST, which is now UTEC, and the Jamaica School of Agriculture, which is now the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE. And of course, the Olympics are in the air, and whenever that happens, we use the opportunity to relate to material in general. And this one featuring Donald Quarry when he won the 200 meters, equaling his own record of 20.6 seconds at the third Pan American and Caribbean Games held at the National Stadium here in Jamaica. Quarry had also won the 100 in the Games in a time of 10.2 seconds. More in a moment.
Sides of a story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631-359-8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330-606-0953. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
Both sides of a story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Here's an unread message, and this one says, wonder what would be the PM's legacy. Mr. Manley did have some good cover drives. Mr. Siaga did only have a straight drive. Mr. Patterson was an all-rounder. Mr. Bruce did hold his own. But this PM playing and missing the ball, he wants to hit everyone for 6, but he's not putting bat to ball, says Horace, otherwise known as Spider, in that analogy. It's always so easy to do the analogies with sports, especially when you're on top of the overall mechanics of sports. Thank you very much, Horace, otherwise known as Spider, for your message. As we continue with more here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. So let's go back to 1978, if you don't mind. Corruption and sacrifice cannot go side by side, Prime Minister Michael Manley, leader of the People's National Party, declared to delegates attending the annual conference of the PNP Women's Movement at the Ward Theatre. Simultaneously, he charged those members who were elected to office to maintain the highest levels of integrity and incorruptibility. That was 1978 in Jamaica. There's another story I wanted to. Where is it? Where is it? All right, let's go to right, 1980. Minister of State for Agriculture Desmond Leakey announced that the Ministry of Agriculture was planning to introduce a second phase to the recently announced Youth Employment Program. under which those with good performance records would be offered lands on which to farm for themselves. It seems like something I've seen and heard over and over again. What a thing. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Also, in the history, the archives, borrowing some more from the archives. A rehabilitation center for ex-prisoners and delinquent juveniles was opened at 84 Maxfield Avenue in St. Andrew. It happened on this day in 1974. 1974. And 1969, at 9:32 a.m. Eastern Daytime, Apollo 2, the first U.S. lunar landing mission, was launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, on a historic journey to the surface of the moon. After traveling 240,000 miles in 76 hours, Apollo 2 entered into a lunar orbit on July 19. The next day at 1:46 p.m., the lunar module Eagle, manned by astronauts Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin, separated from the command module, where a third astronaut, Michael Collins, remained. 2 hours later, the Eagle began its descent to the lunar surface, and at 4:18 p.m., the craft touched down on the southwestern edge of the Sea of Tranquility. Armstrong immediately radioed to Mission Control in Houston a famous message: "The Eagle has landed." So that's where that expression comes from. The Eagle has landed. These days, if you travel by air, you usually, not everybody, but for the most part, that expression is used. The Eagle has landed. So that was at 10:39 p.m., 5 hours ahead of the original schedule. Armstrong opened the hatch of the lunar module. 17 minutes later, at 10:56 p.m., Armstrong spoke the following words to millions listening at home: "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." A moment later, he stepped off the lunar module's ladder, becoming the first human to walk on the surface of the moon. All right. We have a couple more messages here, and after which I would imagine we will start wrapping. But this one from G Wiz Charlie saying, "Hi, Sir Dervan Malcolm. I have some family in Westmoreland telling me that JPS workers want money to reconnect them to power. This is within the Broughton, Little London, Sheffield areas." Well, as far as I understand, the JPS has not resiled from its duties in terms of seeing to the operational management of the electricity supply apparatus under the aegis of the JPS. In other words, we don't know about that. But if that is in fact so, we trust that those who are engaging in that kind of behavior will desist. We hope they're listening. Not that it would necessarily make a difference for some people who are already on the wrong road. Franklin McDonald is sharing another link. Don Valley Parkway cleanup will take hours after heavy flooding. So again, it's a bit of comparison here and there in terms of the speed with which restoration work is done in different territories, different areas. But as we all know, every situation is different, and ideally, we would want the respective teams to move with a rapidity never before seen. Well, it's not always possible. Sometimes when you drill down to the nitty-gritty, as they say, then you realize that it sometimes can be a little tedious. Something as tiny as a screw or some other matter that can cause disruptions in the process. It could be anything. So we want to impress upon the JPS and their team to get the process up and running and effective and productive and so on and so forth. But so let's do some balancing in terms of what is possible, what is probable, what requires a little more time and expertise, etc. We have to communicate openly with the team members so they have an appreciation, and then to spread that out to the customers so that they too can have an appreciation for the work. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Tuesday, the 16th of July, 2024. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, we say a big thank you to Dervan Thomas and Dervan Thomas working solo. And thanks to all our viewers and listeners all over the globe for making it both sides of the story. And let's remember as we wrap, every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Let's
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Good afternoon. I am Dervan. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Tuesday, July 16, 2024.